Reporting from the 2010 Powder and Bulk Solid Show, this is Tracy Purdom, Senior Digital Editor with Chemical Processing Magazine. Joining me today is Bob McGregor, Marketing Sales Manager for Middleborough, Massachusetts-based Brookfield, a provider of powder testing equipment. Bob, can you tell me a little bit about that powder flow tester you're standing in front of?
I'd be happy to. This is the powder flow tester just introduced by Brookfield last October. The objective is to provide manufacturers and users of powders with an ability to predict the flow behavior of the powder. When these powders are in containment vessels and hoppers underneath the containment vessel, sometimes these hoppers will plug up or they will give erratic discharge of the powder. And for that reason, plants will either shut down or they'll have to modify their process to deal with the difficult powders. If they had a tool, an inexpensive tool that could help them evaluate the flow behavior of these powders before they actually put them into the vessels, life could be a lot better, because then they would know the problem powders that they're going to be facing and maybe take some corrective action beforehand. So the way this device works is to take a powder sample and put it into this containment device called a trough. You can see that it has an annular shape like this. So the powder goes into this space right here, and then the powder trough fits right onto the instrument like this. With the trough in place, and I've already weighed the powder that's in the trough, and I know how much volume I've got, so I'm able to compute the loose fill density right off the bat before I begin the test. I now want to use this type of a lid, which is called a vein lid, because it's got little veins in the spaces of the annulus. I want to attach this lid to the instrument like this. Now I'm ready to run my test, and just to prevent any spillage issues while I'm running the test, I'm going to put the outer catch tray around the trough. The test methodology for this instrument is to bring the vein lid down on top of the powder sample and to begin compacting the powder to a specific consolidation load. At that consolidation load, we call that critical consolidation because all the particles are arranged correctly so that there isn't any space for movement. We then start to rotate the trough. The lid will rotate with the trough, and as soon as enough torque is applied to the trough with the lid, the trough will continue to rotate while the lid remains in place, giving us what is called the shear stress at which the powder begins moving. So this type of information is done at different compaction levels for the powder, and from that information or from that data we are able to compute a graph called the flow function. And the flow function is basically a picture of how the powder will flow at different consolidation levels. This gives us the ability to simulate what actually happens to powder in a hopper. And with this information, we are then able to determine whether or not there is a tendency for the powder to form an arch in the bottom of the hopper, which we call a bridge or a stable arch, or to have a rat hole, which is the ability of a cylinder of powder to physically fall out of the containment vessel. The ability to predict those two numbers is the information that processing plants need in order to understand when powders are going to give them trouble. So in a nutshell, we've actually introduced an instrument that anybody can use. It doesn't require a trained operator to use it. You saw how simple it was to put the trough onto the instrument. We have software that you can't see in this presentation, but this software is usable by anybody, and the numbers that I was just speaking about, the arching dimension and the rat hole diameter, as well as the flow function graph, anybody can generate that information, look at it, and make a go, no-go decision for the powder that's in their plant. So I hope this gives you a quick idea. The good news is not only can anyone operate the instrument, but it's only $16,500. And compared to other devices in the market, that's a steal. So you don't want to miss out on this opportunity.
All right, Bob, I appreciate the demonstration.